The yard was shaped as an odd box surrounded by a high brick wall with crumbling mortar. At one end, where dustbins were spilling their rubbish onto the ground, large pieces of eggshell told of a recent and violent death. The victim? Humpty Dumpty, under the jurisdiction of Nursery Crime Division. Dum dum dum! It's Easter in reading, a bad time for eggs. A nursery celebrity, Humpty Dumpty, is found shattered to death beneath a wall in a shabby area of town. Now, it's up to Detective Jack Sprat and his new partner, Mary, to solve the case. But Detective Sprat is fresh from a spectacular failure to convict 3 wildy pigs for the murder of a certain wolf. The media and public tide of opinion are set squarely against him. Now, new troubles brewing. The Big Over Easy by Jasper Ford. Looks like he died from injuries sustained from falling from a wall. Could be accident, suicide, who knows? He was discovered dead at 07:22 this morning. Anything else I need to know? I'm not exactly Mr. Popular at the present. There are people who think that spending $250,000 on a failed murder conviction for 3 pigs is not the value for money. I didn't think justice was meant to have a price tag. It's a public perception thing, Sprat. Piglets are cute, wolves aren't. So clean up Humpty's tumble with a minimal fuss and bother. After that 3 pigs debacle, I want it neat, quick, and cheap. And I want you to meet your new partner, Mary. Mary, it's Mary, nice to meet you. Detective Inspector Jack Sprat, Nursery Crime Division. Did you hear about the time I saved Hansel and Gretel from being eaten alive by a witch? No, I'm afraid I didn't. Or the time I rescued 100 children from the Pied Piper of Hamelin? Convicted Jill of aggravated assault against Jack? No. Humpty's oven body had fragmented almost completely. The night's heavy rain had washed away his liquid center, but there was still an unmistakably eggy smell. A thin, hairless leg, stowed shoe and sock. Humpty's biggest piece of shell contained his large features, his face a pale white. One of his eyes was open and a crack ran along his face. How did you know him? He used to lecture on children's literature at Reading University. He was fired by the university in 1981. Made the mistake of having an affair with the dean's wife. It didn't go down too well. Humpty had always sat on walls. It was his way. We shall have a word with Mrs. Dumpty. He had it coming. Who was it? Jill's husband? We never said he was murdered, Mrs. Dumpty. We lived together for 18 years. His valerian got worse. I thought it would blow over. Carried on, grew more and more blatant. Changed the locks, got divorced. Did he ever get depressed? Depressed? Are you considering this might be a suicide? He often got depressed. He was an outpatient at St. Branch for longer than I've known him. Easter was a bad time for him, as you can imagine. Sometimes he would wake up in the middle of the night screaming, help me, I'm boiling! A reoccurring nightmare of being boiled alive for exactly 3 minutes. If you have no other questions. Do you think she's ever Dumpty? Not a chance. I think she had secrets. Perhaps not to do with his death, but secrets nonetheless. This just in. The reading genetic industry suffered a severe blow last night when the Quads Foundation for Genetic Research was closed following its owner's admission that she conducted morally dubious experiments. The disgraced Dr. Quat has been permanently banned from funded research and has been shunned by every hospital in the nation except St. Branch. Dr. Quat is an amazing woman. Mad as we're all hunks, but they said the same thing about Galileo. Here you go. Dr. Deborah Quat, we wanted to talk to you about one of your patients, Mr. Dumpty. You do know that he's dead. I was nowhere near him. If you want to try me for malpractice, you'll have to mount a good case. I have plenty of experience in them. Mr. Dumpty? Dead? What a pity. Did you know I successfully grafted a kitten's head onto a haddock? It's not against the law, I just can't get any funding to do any proper research. With these outdated moral principles, I can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. Which brings us back to Mr. Dumpty. How long had you been his doctor? I was a psychologist for 5 years, then I moved into genetic research. When did you last see him? 6 days ago. Easter was a bad time for him, as you can imagine, with all those chocolate eggs being eaten and the real ones died. He was a virtual prisoner in his own home. Thank you, Dr. Quatt. Got it. Got a problem with morgues, Mary? An ordinary pathologist would have given Humpty the most curiosity of glances, but Mrs. Syme is different. So you've managed to do what all the king's men couldn't. 126 pieces. They said dead man can't talk, but this one has spoken volumes. Take a look. Look at the damage on his lower back. Holy shoot. He was shot. The discoloration is gunshot residue. Someone came up from the other side of the wall and shot him. By the time the bullet exited, the cracks already encircled his body and exploded. There was one thing that puzzled me though. This section on the shelf, here on his waistline, a small hole drilled exactly 1/4 inch in width. Drilled into him too. There was a band-aid covering it. Drug abuse? Possibly, and I've run the usual test. I'll let you know as soon as I have something. Humpty didn't fall, and he didn't jump. Mary, we should speak to his ex-wife again. Thanks for calling. I'll be straight there. It's Mrs. Dumpty. There's been an accident. She's dead. Oh wait, guys, before you go, the results came in. There are traces of chorioalactonic membrane. Traces of what? Chorioalactonic membrane. It's a highly vascularized extraembryonic membrane that functions as a site for nutrient transport during embryonic development. You mean, right. He didn't die from a gunshot wound or the fall. He hatched. Humpty Dumpty